a playlist original.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster with your hosts, Gaius and Jackson. I know it's a little bit different start to the episode today. We're piloting a little new change here over Back to the Blockbuster, flip-flopping intros and outros, and this is your very first time hearing my voice start the episode off, but rest assured, our good pal Gaius is right behind me here.
Yeah, I am still here. It's funny when you introduced it with your host Gaius and Jackson. I was like, I wonder when he introduced it. He's like, no, with your host Jackson.
I did it in my head. I tested it out, and I just didn't have the confidence. I think it works better with your name in front, but it crossed my mind. That's funny.
Yeah, either way it works. It's a team effort for sure, and that's why we're gonna be flip flopping this. I guess now from now on.
Yeah, we got a few changes over
every
here
week
that we're trying out, and a lot of new changes coming to the show. And it's only our first couple episodes of the year, and excited to deliver some new stuff to you guys. So I'm sure this won't be the last thing you notice that's different, but interesting vibe doing the intro. I think I'm more comfortable in the outro, but so props to your work at the beginning of the episodes, my friend.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I can say the same thing about you with the outro. I think you do that really well. And I do remember when we first started, you're like, okay, what do I need to say? And I was just like, oh, like something along these lines. And then when you first did it, I was like, he just did that so fucking effortlessly. Like it sounded like he had done it before. Well, past life as like a radio person.
Yeah, perhaps a lot of it is winging it, even this, but it's definitely there's a different, I guess, weight when you do the intro at the beginning. But it's fun. Yeah, switch up.
It's crazy too because like I recorded a deep dive before we jumped into this, and I have to do the intro and the outro on that.
Yeah, it's all on your shoulders.
So it's all on me. Which makes the guests feel very comfortable because it's just like they're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
They just come in. Their job is just to come in with the movie that we're talking about, and I have to think about that now. Or like, oh, like I have to be ready to like introduce it and then close it out. And it's different. I'm more comfortable like lobbing up like news stories and like talking like shop like that.
Right. Yeah.
But I think I was one podcast guy. I was in our podcast group was saying that he has a hard time doing the intro and outro because and his buddy, I guess, who does a show with him, they are like they want something that sounds organic and natural, and they said every time they do it, it's always like it just feels so weird. It's like you would think we have normal conversations like almost every day, right? Like, why can't we introduce each other and close out our show?
It's easier said than done. I'll give some credit there. It's definitely the least natural part of the episode, but comes down to how you speak it. But yeah, it's not too bad. But I'm interested to have the audience listen in on a little bit an excursion that you were on the weekend. You attended an award ceremony that I know that we haven't even had the chance to discuss offline. So this is really my first time hearing about your experience at the Astra Awards on Saturday. So tell us all about that and the people you got to see, which I would have been totally starstruck hearing the couple of the names that you did mention. But yeah, fill us in.
It was a really fun, cool experience. The Astra Awards are put together by the Hollywood Creative Alliance, formerly known as the Hollywood Critics Association. And they are an organization, just in case you guys don't know, of critics, entertainment journalists, content creators, industry insiders, and creatives that come together. And throughout the year, it's a celebration of filmmaking. And also, it's not just film, too. Like tonight, they're doing their TV Awards ceremony is tonight, as of this recording. I'm only in the film branch, and that was interesting for another website I do stuff for now, Geek Vibes Nation. I just was told that they want me to be their editor on the TV side. They want to have me organize the TV stuff a little bit more. So like I could be involved. I could have been next year. I could be more involved in the TV side of it. I don't even know if I want to take that on because it's just
you are wearing so many hats. It's impressive.
Too many hats. But yeah, it gets broken up into. They had the creative part award ceremony, which is like the behind the scenes like production design, cinematography. That was all on Friday, and then Saturday was the film awards, and tonight, as of this recording, the TV awards. And it really celebrates like all these awards show the best in filmmaking for the entire year, but also they did a lot of rebranding this year, I guess. I just joined, including the name. So I just joined in, I believe, September, October. I was asked to join then, and when I was asked to be a part of it, I was told that like there were a lot of changes coming ahead of the new year. So they were just basically saying, bear with them, and it's a really fun experience, a really fun thing to do, but like you're kind of getting involved in it as they're, bringing new people in, and kind of, like with a lot of these, I think organizations, like they want to make an effort to have more diverse voices included. There was also this big thing about like what makes a critic, is it just someone that writes for a publication? Now there's so many people that have their own YouTube channels where they review movies. Even doing something like with G Reels, like that I did, like for a long time, that wouldn't have been enough to be considered for any of this kind of stuff. But now
the
that's all
landscape
going to
has
change.
changed so much.
Right.
Yeah. You have a significant following over there too. Like that seems more than adequate with the audience that you have on G Reels.
So yeah, it's a really, kind of what they decided that entertainment journalism, it's more than one thing, and I believe that's really good. And I think I know with some groups there are some people are more old school and they want to, hey, only writers should be a part of this. Writers that write for trade publications, websites, that have that kind of background and following. But I mean, I think, like you said, the whole landscape of all this stuff has changed, and a visual medium too is becoming more prevalent. Like the YouTube stuff is huge, and some people have made
TikTok too, right?
Yeah, TikTok is another. There are people that seriously review movies within a minute and a half, or maybe a little longer on TikTok, and they have a big following from doing that. And that is another thing that is widely considered. And a lot of those content creators are being invited to premieres and festivals and all that stuff, because it's just how things are now. And they were acknowledging that change and wanted more of those voices to be included in that. So that is why the rebranding, not just calling it a critics association, but a creative alliance, where it's more than just film criticism. It's more than one type of criticism.
Right.
I guess having more creative minds be involved in the organization, I think, is what they're trying to get at with it heading into the new year. But I mentioned before that for a lot of the places I write for, I don't meet any of these people in person at all. It's just, message boards and occasional Zoom meetings and stuff. And I got to hang out with a lot of those people at the ceremony on Saturday, and actually interact with them. And it was great because it wasn't awkward. It was very natural.
Right. The venue looked great.
The Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, if you live in LA, apparently it's I'm glad we actually are doing this right now, because I forgot to mention that apparently they filmed some of Ghostbusters there. I found that out while I was there.
Way. Oh, sweet.
So they filmed a few other movies there as well. And once you're in like the actual like venue and like see some of the rooms and all that, you were like, oh yeah, I remember that, especially in Ghostbusters. Like it was like pretty obvious after it was said to me. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So it has a lot of like film history attached to it. In the heart of downtown LA. So thankfully me and my date Ubered and didn't drive, because I did not want to deal with the traffic situation or the parking situation, because you don't live here, Jackson, but I'm pretty sure you're even familiar with the stereotype of LA traffic, and it's brutal. And at the time we were going at like 3:00, it was pretty brutal. So I was just happy to like just sit back in an Uber and not have to worry about getting there, dealing with traffic, and also the parking situation too would have been awful as well.
To put things into perspective, in my little town of Fredericton, which services our population throughout the day, we service about 100,000 people, maybe between 90 to 100,000. We don't even have Uber as a platform here. It's not even functioning here. So that's we have there's not even any rideshare apps that you can access in Fredericton.
You just have just like regular
old cabs. Yep, exactly. Or a DD. Exactly.
Well, hard to rely on a DD here in LA, at least where I live. It's just that,
we're in the past.
no one wants to commit to being the DD, and I don't know, it's just an LA thing, but some of them turn their nose up to regular cabs. They're like, oh, I don't want to take it.
Right.
Like really
such a gamble.
About it.
Although I have ridden in Ubers before.
So it was cool not to worry, and it was cool not to stress about all that. So like when we got there, It was just everything was just run efficiently. I was really surprised because usually sometimes with these kind of things, I've done not award shows, but I've done different like Comic Cons and stuff like that, and it's a big thing to put on and be organized and have
I
it move the way
imagine.
it needs to move. And then you're
Yeah.
also like checking in numerous you're checking in all the members who are part of the organization, but then there was also press that had to check in, and also the talent that was there who was checking in, and they were trying to make sure that we were all kind of like not separated because they didn't want us to interact, but like they didn't want it to eventually converge into like its own little traffic jam, trying to get
Right.
everybody inside. So everyone that was part of the organization was really good about being on time. We were all there when we need to be there, with our respective guests. Press got there when they need to get there, and talent got there when they need to get there. A lot of them walking around, talking to everyone, not keeping to themselves necessarily, which kind of surprised me to see. People like Willem Dafoe just walking around talking to people. Clint Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who's in Blackberry, he received an award for the night too as well. He was walking around talking to everyone. The cast of the Color Purple was definitely walking around talking to everyone. So it was kind of cool that it wasn't so formal. It was a little bit more loose and fun, and it was just kind of cool to be around people that were all like-minded and
Right.
that all have this kind of appreciation for filmmaking. It also gave me like a bigger not that I don't necessarily need a bigger drive to do what I do, because I do it a lot for different people, but
Right.
it made me more I guess determined to like make myself better. Like, you always want to like be a little bit better. It doesn't matter. Like, even if you feel like you feel like you've done it all, which is why people are like, why do you write for so many outlets? Because all of them are different, and I learned
Right.
different things from working for them. Of course, some I prioritize over others because I'm not getting paid, and that's
exactly.
and I of course it's great to get paid as a writer, and that's always been like kind of the dream. So that's good as well. But yeah,
Certainly.
there's just so many different types of people there, but all there for the very same reason, and that was a really cool thing about the whole experience, and getting to
Definitely.
see a lot of these people who you watch in film in
Yeah.
person was
So you were
a
in the
trip.
same room as Willem Dafoe, who just today, actually,
Well,
as of recording, got his star on the Hollywood Walk of
on Hollywood
Fame. At
Walk of
least,
Fame,
according to
and
IndieWire's Instagram, anyway.
and he received basically a career excellence award, just kind of highlighting his career. And I kind of, like I said, I forgot he's been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, and he's had like a crazy career, and it's done all different types of movies, and just a really funny guy. But you can tell that he really respects the craft as well,
Right.
which was really cool. It was also a really good showcase of like young up and coming talent. I just actually watched uh uh it's me, Margaret, that movie with Rachel
Yeah.
McAdams, and
Yeah.
the young girl who is the lead got the Star on the Rise award. And I don't know, I think she was like 12 or 13 when she got the part, so she's not
Oh,
that
wow.
much older now. But like, I was just thinking, like, to be as poised as a teenager or someone
Yeah.
that young, I can't even imagine being that way at that age.
No.
I definitely wasn't. And I just kind of see like up and coming talent like that. Danielle Brooks, who's in The Color Purple, she also got a breakthrough award. That these were some of the awards they set up before the ceremony.
Okay.
And this is someone who was in the Broadway version of A Color Purple, but this is like her first feature film, and it's a feature film produced by Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey,
Pretty
and
big deal.
she's pretty big deal. And she's just talking about how like she didn't know she could kind of dream these moments. And I thought it was really cool that she told this story, is that she talked about how her mom, and she started crying a little bit, but she was talking about how her mom, and once she found out what she wanted to do, which was act, sing, dance, all that stuff, her mom never hesitated and just put her in any class she could put her in, had her go to any school that would like would like develop that talent. When there was ever any like question in her mind about like, oh, you can't do this, so it's a fool's dream, that kind of thing. So that's a really cool story to hear too, because you need that kind of
Right.
encouragement. I have that kind of encouragement from my parents, so it's a really cool story to tell as well. And Jeffrey Wright also won something for American Fiction.
Oh, no way.
He was there, and he said some great things. His speech was great. Also, I didn't really. I mean, I've seen him in so many movies, but dude's voice is like butter. I mean, it's like I was like everyone in the room was just like sitting like with their hands down, like
listening,
just enamored with it. Yeah, like almost like a Barry White kind of thing going for him, but also like someone who like pounded the pavement very early on and is doing movies that he loves. The writer and director of that movie also had a really good speech and talked about just how important it is to like support independent filmmakers and small ideas, movies that don't necessarily cost $200 million to make, like finding people that pay attention to that little movie that, you know, you might not think it might get any traction, but it could. And that's what happened with American Fiction for him. And it was a lot of stories like that. It was really cool to kind of hear. And Greta Gerwig was there. She accepted her best original screenplay award for Barbie in person.
Okay.
She's very funny as well, and very quirky personality, but works. And she was also very appreciative of just what Barbie has meant to so many people and the accolades that it's received and all that as well. Mark Ronson was there for the music because I'm Just Ken won Best Original Song.
Okay.
Haley Steinfeld was also there. Very gorgeous in person.
I bet.
She won for Best Voiceover for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Right.
And said she's very excited to get to work very soon on the next one, which it was crazy. I guess they haven't done any voice recordings for it at all yet because the strike kind of stopped that.
Yeah, for sure. That movie's had some issues, but
which is why it got delayed. And they also celebrated the movie itself won Best Animated Feature, so all those guys were there to accept it. And then it also Daniel Pemberton, who was involved like the music and all that, was also there to accept the award. And just a lot of interesting, really cool talent in the room. And
no doubt.
Quite the experience. I got some flack from some friends for not taking my brother or my buddy Justin, who goes oddly enough, my brother is named Justin, and my best friend is named Justin, and we go to the movies the most together.
Right.
But I wanted to take a girl because, like, I don't know, it felt like the right thing to take a girl to.
Fair enough. I'd probably feel the same way.
But I got some fun flack. They were like, when's the last time she saw a movie with you? I was like,
that must have been an interesting experience for her. I can only imagine.
Yeah, not something she really is. Like, she works in fashion, but she said this was much different.
Yeah, no doubt.
Much different kind of experience. And then I was told that for all of these moving forward, that she has to be the one to go. So maybe my brother will never go to one of these. I don't know.
Put down.
I want to normalize bringing 3 people instead of
a little pod.
Just 2, a little pod. But it was a lot of fun. And I know, crazy, not movie related story. I ran into this guy that used to live in Hermosa Beach. I hadn't seen him in years, and he was the person that was supplying all the wine at the event.
Okay.
And I had no idea he even worked in that field.
That's an important role.
But like I kind of like looked up and I was like, what the hell? Like, because those worlds don't usually collide, because we call like the South Bay, Hermosa, Redondo, Manhattan, like the bubble. We're in LA County. We're in LA County, but we're not in like the greater part of LA. And all the beach cities feel like a small town, so everyone kind of like knows each other. And it's hard to get people to go like 10 minutes anywhere. Like, oh, that's too far. Like it's like we don't want to leave the bubble. Like we have everything we need here. So like I never expect to see anyone I know from the area at any of these places. Usually I see. So it was a nice surprise running into him as well.
It can still be a small world even out in LA, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was fun. I was happy to have gone. I have more videos and stuff to post on our podcast pages and on G-Reels, so you'll see a lot of that. I was actually happy that I didn't have like great service during the show. Like no one really did, because everyone was trying to use their phones at the same time. So I didn't have to really. I really didn't have to focus on posting on social media. It was more of a
living in the moment.
I'll record it and like deal with it later.
Right.
So I was kind of happy to kind of be in the moment in it. So
yeah,
But yeah,
funny you remember.
I wish you could share these kind of experiences.
I know that would have been
here.
a dream come true. Maybe one day, you never know. We've teased it a bunch. I definitely have ambitions to get out to the West Coast for visits, if not permanently, but that's a pipe dream well down the road. But I'm sure we'll find time to get out there and attend some stuff together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
yeah,
a lot of fun.
it's definitely it's hilarious the distance truly between us and how we make things work. It's quite something.
And it's funny that people still are learning that there is a bunch of like a huge piece of land between us. They're like,
Yeah,
I was like, he's nowhere near LA, not even like,
not even close.
not even close. But I do think if he did live here, there would be competition on who I would go see movies with. I probably have to like, I don't know,
I'm
maybe
sure
we
we'd
would
see
all go
most things
together.
together. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Totally.
but yeah, it's always a
Yeah.
toss up between my brother and my buddy Justin, and
Mhm.
yeah, I try to give priority to my brother. He's blood, but you know,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
certain.
Family.
But yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, that
Well,
was the
sweet.
experience. It's fun.
I can't wait to see the videos actually like posted too, because I saw a little glimpse on your Instagram that night, some pictures and stuff, but the videos would be cool to
Yeah,
see. Looking forward
yeah,
to
for
that.
sure.
So you guys can stay
Yeah, they'll
tuned
be
to
all
that on the
they'll be all
pages.
up too. And I covered it in written form for a couple of outlets, so I'll post links up to that
Sweet.
so you guys can like read all about it. So, yep, that was
Great.
my experience there.
Right on. Well, so on our second sort of switch up, I guess it's kind of subtle, might not even be noticeable, but we got a different little approach to our news segment here because this is a news episode. So we got a few points that we're hammering at you guys today, sort of bullet form, which isn't too dissimilar from how we cover news in the past. We got some developments. I know it's kind of felt like somewhat of a slow first week to 2024. There's definitely been some news, not too much in the vein of new releases. But there are a couple points we want to rapid fire at you guys today. And I mean, there's some of these developments are smaller than others. Some we have more to say than others, again, which has been the case over the last year. But sort of summarizing the week in film as our approach to the news episodes here lately. So we're piloting this, seeing how that goes. I'm really excited to jump into this first one. I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit later on another episode in January. But so this first news part that came out is concerning Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, which for those eagle-eared listeners may remember that was on my most anticipated list for 2023. And lo and behold, this movie did not release last year. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it was slated originally. I don't remember it actually being officially delayed. It never came out. But the director, Francis Ford Coppola, has announced it. It's a little bit vague, but he did say this week it is slated to appear early 2024 is what he said. So very much looking forward to his long in the making epic.
Megalopolis.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it. Is that how you say it?
He self-financed this movie, if I recall, like an absurd amount of his own money. He sold quite a bit of his stake in or his winery, like his wine business to finance this movie. And it suffered a lot of production delays. I'm sure COVID was part of that. I don't know what the other, maybe financing was an issue, but it's been in the making. It's been a passion project of his for a very long time. And so we've seen some shots of it, but very much looking forward to it. Apparently it's coming out sometime early this year. So that was a big story.
So when someone says early 2024,
what does that mean to you?
So I'm glad you said it. That was vague because, like,
yeah,
I mean, it certainly won't be this month, but like when you go like February, March, April, is that still considered early 2024?
I think because April's your cutoff.
Because if we're getting towards May and June, then that's not early 2024.
Certainly not. I would say
I'm
that's
guessing
mid
anywhere between
mid-year.
February and April is what I'm guessing. And
yes,
spitballing here.
Do you think there's anything to that? Not specific date, not even a month given. Do you think there's more than meets the eye with that announcement? Has that crossed your mind?
He could be working on like completely finishing it in post. I mean, I know it went into production November 2022, wrap shooting in March 2023. And they said that he has been editing, tinkering, etc. since then. So it could be he probably is just like Martin Scorsese, and
fair enough.
And the editing process is very lengthy. He was honest and said that the movie would not reach audiences in 2023, but now that with that confirmation, he actually confirmed this. It was via a podcast. It said on the podcast, the director confirmed that his latest feature will indeed hit theaters in 2024. It's only going to be a few months and it'll be out. Coppola said that's great news, but also raises many other pressing questions, says Playlist. Well, it's funny, I am reading this on a website called Playlist. Given that Megalopolis is a self-budgeted movie, what will distribution be like? Will the studio step up and to help it out? Will Coppola finance that himself too? Because not only do you have to finance the movie, then you have to finance distribution as well.
Oh boy, that's a different beast.
And then they said, and what about a trailer? And how long is a few months? Thank you. Could Coppola premiere Megalopolis as early as the Cannes Film Festival in May? So they're saying May is their cutoff.
Okay.
The director did not elaborate, only adding, all I can say is I love the actors in it. It's unusual and it's never boring. Other than that, you need to wait and see. And by wait and see, when he talks about the actors that are involved in it, we have Adam Driver, Forrest Whitaker, Natalie Emmanuel, John Voight, Lawrence Fishburne, Aubrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, and Chloe Feynman. But then they go, but that's not all. We also have Katherine Hunter, Dustin Hoffman, D.B. Sweeney, Talia Shire, Jason Schwartzman, Bailey Ives, Grace Vanderwall, James Remar, and Giancarlo Esposito. That is a huge
That's an ensemble,
of really, really great actors. I really want that to see the light of day because the cast sounds really great.
Exactly.
But yeah, and they said last May that he downplayed set difficulties with crew members, saying, from my point of view, I was on schedule, which on a big, difficult movie is hard to do. I love my actors, and there's not one of them I would change. The movie has a style that went beyond my expectations. That's sincerely how I feel. The most important thing is the life the film might have when eventually it cuts together and blossoms. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it just based on the cast alone.
Exactly.
And it's Francis Ford Coppola. And you know, he's the kind of director at this point that can self-finance his movies and do what he wants to do.
Yep.
There are certain directors when they get a certain age and have a certain filmography, they can do whatever the hell they want. He is one of them. Scorsese is another. Clint Eastwood, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Well, he's not old, but I guess we can throw Tarantino.
Old, but probably the same status. I'm sure he could just approach the studio with an idea. Nolan, of course.
Maybe David Fincher, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it just based on just interest in seeing what he's put together and like, you know, I've heard him before describe the movie as big and difficult, but you know,
hopefully it will all be worth the wait.
Yeah. So guys, like you said, early 2024, a few months. That could be anywhere between February and May. Maybe June. When you're old, you make your own rules. And if he wants June to be early 2024, then so be it.
Yeah. Well, rest assured, our ears will be, you know, to the channels. We will be, delivering any developments that do come. Hopefully sooner than later, and then eventually a trailer will have to come soon, maybe by March if we're being hopeful. And then soon, sometime throughout this year, we'll be discussing Megalopolis, and cannot wait for that movie.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able to put it on your most anticipated. It won't get knocked off this year.
Yeah, I know. Still got to go through those. I'm sure it's an easy shuffle.
And then you won't. I want you to be able to use it, unlike last year when you weren't able to use it, or you wanted to, but then it got delayed.
Right.
So hopefully that doesn't happen to you again this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else we got on the good old agenda?
For Peaky Blinders fans are going to be happy to hear that showrunner Stephen Knight, who's been busy with some other projects, including the final season of the show, which aired, I believe, 2023. Might have been 2022. I know that the release was split amongst America and Britain. But so finally we get some news regarding the show's spinoff. He has announced the spinoff of Peaky Blinders, or the show, or the movie rather, is going to begin filming in 2024. I believe he was aiming for mid-year. It was vague again, but sometime in the summer, the spinoff show will be, filming in 2024, which is huge news. I don't know about you, Gaius, if we've chatted the show before. I'm a big fan of the show. I've only seen the first 5 seasons, however. I still got to wrap up the series, but could not be more excited for this. That is a series that is in my top 10 shows, hands down. I've been pestering Cam to start that
Watch
show.
it.
I believe it's high up on his list to begin. And I'm already I've been dancing around the idea of rewatching it from the ground up. It's just so good. It's an easy watch. Each season, 6 episodes. It's not a hefty watch at all, and it's fantastic through and through.
So I feel like I'm gonna like crush your dreams a little bit because
Shit.
I know a lot of I've heard great things about it. I've just never watched it.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
No. You know, I was gonna say like, oh, I think it sucks. No, I wasn't gonna do that to you. No, I've never watched it. I've heard really great things about it. I heard this is not as big of an offense as not having watched like Breaking Bad.
No, God,
no. They won't make people nearly as mad, but I do know about it and I've heard good things about it. What's funny about these 2 stories that we just gave you, what's very similar are vague 2024 dates, whether it's a release date or a filming start date. And both of these projects in the things I pulled up to research it were both called long gestating projects that have been in development for a while. So that's what those 2 stories have in common. But he was talking with the Radio Times and said that I'm just working on the final bits of it at the moment. I just sit down at the keyboard and start. It's a bit like having a dream for me. You sit there and all this stuff comes and then you read it back and think that's pretty good. But where did it come from? The plan is to start shooting that in the middle of here. So
nice.
Good.
Okay. Well, that's promising too.
So this show debuted back in 2013.
Yes.
I don't even know it was that old. I did not know that. I do know Cillian Murphy is part of it, and
I feel like that is the role that put him on the map. Obviously, he'd been acting fantastically for years before that, but his role as Thomas Shelby really was pivotal for his career, and it's definitely one of the best TV performances, I would argue, of all time. Every aspect of that show is great. Like, I'd say the highlights of it beyond the acting are like the cinematography and the production design. It takes place throughout late 1920s, throughout 1930s, and eventually into the 1940s in England. And it's centers around an infamous gangster family and all of their various exploits. And it is incredible to behold. One of my favorite shows, like I said. The movie's going to be fantastic. It's been teased for years. I know it's been in development for a long time, like while the show was still actively being produced. So again, fans of the show, I'm sure, are rejoicing right now with that news. I know I am, and certainly going to wrap up season 6 of that show well before the movie gets here. But yeah, you honestly make a pledge right now before that movie gets out. You should binge that show. It's only like 36 some episodes. You can do it. I know you can do it.
Okay, I can put. And I just pulled up its Wikipedia page and like just saw all the people who have been attached.
Insane. Tom Hardy has a great supporting role in that show.
Tom Hardy, Adrian Brody, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That is crazy. And what's interesting is that Finn Cole, who is also on that show. I know Finn Cole from Animal Kingdom on TNT. I used to watch that show like a lot. That's a great series. I didn't know that he was doing those at the same time. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I had no idea all these people were attached. To it.
Great cast. It's put some people. It started some actors' careers that they've been known from that show. The guy that I can't remember his name.
And it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was carried. I don't think it was their production, but it was carried on Netflix.
No, it says it was acquired. They acquired the rights to the show in the United States and around the world. That's crazy. All right, so
easy watch.
Yeah, and you like it. Yeah, number of episodes across 6 seasons is 36. Yeah, you're right. So that is really easy. That would have to be making all kinds of horrible excuses not to watch it. Like
even to start with a season.
That's like a couple like almost a night, or before I go to bed.
Spend a weekend watching 6 hours and get that first season in, and I guarantee you won't stop it. Like, and I would say that to any audience member listening that hasn't started, that's been thinking, do I watch Peaky Blinders? If you're thinking starting a new series, like why not make it that show? Can't recommend it anymore, and that's got the stamp of approval from myself for sure.
I want to only to hold myself accountable. I want to make a podcast pledge with you is that this year I will watch that, and I will also start watching Breaking Bad.
Oh my God, yes, you just made my day. I really hope if you need me to to back you up on that and get me to pledge something, start thinking about it. And if you start those 2 shows, the least I could do would be to get in on a project that I haven't seen that you need me to. So that's a big haul because Breaking Bad's definitely more episodes, but It's mandatory viewing, man. You got to get it in. This is the year.
Yeah, I gotta do it. It's been that. I mean, and there's other ones too. There's Game of Thrones. I know I need to do that as well.
God.
I know. And I'm killing you.
Just stop.
Killing you softly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot. I know. I can't harp. There's tons of stuff I haven't seen. Cam's on my case. I'm not done The Wire. I've kind of took a hiatus from that show.
That's my mom's favorite show.
Right?
Like,
yeah, we've talked about it before here.
With zero hesitation. She's just like, "What's your favorite show?" The Wire. There's no break. There's no thinking about it.
It consistently ranks in the greatest shows of all time, and I don't know why I'm sitting on my ass about it, but I got to get to it. So,
I believe.
Let's start thinking about what you want me to watch.
I will actually. I think Variety actually had Peaky Blinders on their list of. They had a big list of the best shows.
Yeah, it earns a spot.
I think Peaky Blinders was on there. I think The Wire was. I think every show we discussed right now, Peaky Blinders, The Wire, and Game of Thrones were all on their list. So, yeah, I will make that pledge. And since it's recorded in here, and it's going to live in infamy across different podcast channels, that will hold me accountable.
Perfect.
And I will. It really is as simple as doing a couple a night, or doing.
Once you start, you won't stop. It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we got on a little weekly agenda?
You may know more about this next one than I do. I know I put it on here to talk about, but for those of you who are probably getting familiar with the name of this Greek filmmaker, Yorgos Lanthimos, his movie Poor Things from 2023 just got a couple awesome awards at the Golden Globes yesterday as of recording. But his next movie, which was shot while Poor Things was in post-production, we got our first look at. I honestly don't know much more about it other than it's already gone through a name change. And I think we discussed this.
Well, it was called I think.
Which is what I thought Poor Things. I mixed these movies up, but it's now been called, is it Kinds of Kindness?
Kinds of Kindness.
I don't know what that's all about.
Which is better than but it's also
very
a tongue
much
twister
so.
if you say it too fast.
Yeah, both are strange in their own way, but he's a strange filmmaker.
Well, he's a strange filmmaker. And like I said, when we talked about his movies before, The Favorite is his most accessible of his movies. But even that is still offbeat and kind of weird. But if I was to recommend, I don't even know if I would recommend The Favorite first, because I feel like if I was hey, you should watch that.
Yeah.
And then
would you?
Okay. Well, they're all weird. I mean, I would want to turn anyone off right away.
He's a filmmaker. You got to buy in, or you're not.
I like Killing a Sacred Deer and all that. Yeah. I like his movies. I appreciate how weird he is.
Yeah.
More power to you, but definitely hard to recommend him to the casual movie watcher.
Exactly. I'd say he is the front runner for one of those directors who is truly, there's nobody else making movies like he is right now. I don't think none that come to mind anyway. He's truly original. All his movies are completely wacky concepts, all very much original. You are very absurdist and in their plots, and you got to kind of go in knowing that to buy in. Cam and I were just talking today about how bad of a rewatch we're due for The Lobster. So I think that will be an imminent watch for me coming up, because that movie is hilarious. They're all offbeat comedies, all of his movies.
They're all really offbeat. What would you go with if you were hey, watch
check
one of
this guy
movies.
out?
would you go yo, just start from the beginning, or just
I haven't seen Dogtooth. That's his only movie I haven't seen.
Okay.
I would say no, I wouldn't go with The Favorite as much as it's his most accessible movie. I would probably go with Killing of a Sacred Deer, maybe because a lot of A24 fans would be familiar with it. It's got a pretty recognizable cast, and I'm glad. This is a great segue. I was watching a video right before we were recording, and I think I finally resolved the debate about our boy Barry.
About the name?
Yes. He's in Killing of a Sacred Deer. So the interview that I was watching was between Barry and Jacob Elordi talking about Saltburn, and they were interviewing each other, and Jacob Elordi kept referring to him as Barry Keoghan, which is how you
All
pronounce
right,
it.
that's how I
I
pronounce it.
think
All
that's
right.
it. I think it's
There
Barry
we go.
Keoghan. I always thought it was Keegan, and I know we've kind of used both intermittently, but
And we
he didn't
changed it
correct
to
them, so I'm gonna
we
say
changed it
that
to
was
our boy Barry,
Yeah.
so we don't like mess it up.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
So I feel
Barry
like he would have
Keoghan.
corrected Jacob Elordi if he was wrong. So there we go.
Or like, and Jacob would know how to address him. That they were filming the
Yeah,
movie.
if they
become
worked that,
friends.
if they worked that long together.
Yeah,
Oh, did you know that Emerald wanted Timothy Chalamet for that
they
part?
they discussed that in that interview. Yeah,
And Jacob Elordi was like, "Oh, what about Barry?" And I could, you know what? I think he'd be good, but I think I posted on my Instagram story that like Barry Keoghan gives the impression like something's not quite right, like right away.
Yeah, and
Where
Killing of a Sacred Deer is a great role for him to express that. That's where he like
Yeah.
started in that sort of wacky
Yeah,
vision he's got. I don't buy Timothy Chalamet. I think he's like an incredible actor. I don't
Yeah.
know if I buy that. Maybe I'm biased because I've seen Saltburn it with Barry in the role, but I don't know if I
Yeah.
get that unhinged vibe from Timothy Chalamet. He's still got to prove
he
it to
certainly
me.
hasn't played anything like that.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a really great actor though, but I've never seen him do anything like that. So
I mean, the closest I would say would be Bones and All from 2022.
Oh yeah,
but it's not quite the same level, I don't think.
Yeah. But what could have been? I mean, I guess it still would have been a good movie, but yeah,
for sure. I'm glad Barry got it. Yeah.
He is currently still editing the movie. He talked about it at during the Golden Globes press conference after the Poor Things won Best Musical or Comedy. Emma Stone's in the movie, marking the third time they have worked together. He's about to get her another Oscar nomination. So that means she's been nominated Birdman, La La Land, which she won for, The Favorite, and now this. So now, I mean, wait, she hasn't been nominated yet. She hasn't been nominated yet.
Almost undoubtedly, yeah.
Yeah, so that and then two of them will be coming from the same director. Should she get nominated for Poor Things? So there's certain directors that seem like they find their muse or their creative
I was about to use the word muse.
And I think Emma Stone is his. And he also said the movie is 3 contemporary stories, and there's a core of actors, 7 total, who play one character in each story. So they'll play 3 different characters according to the director.
That's cool. That's a really cool approach.
William Dafoe is also in the movie. Nice. And he says that we'll have something for you very soon. He promised during this presser at the Golden Globes. And looking at the rest of the cast too, Hunter Schafer, who is on she's on Euphoria, Jesse Plemons, Margaret Qualley, Hung Chau, who was nominated last year for The Whale for Best Supporting Actress. A lot of really great solid people in here. And I'm assuming that this movie will be just as weird, but still just as fun as his other movies as well.
I can't wait. Bring it on. He is crazy.
And for someone like Emma Stone, like to just come off of like working with him on, Poor Thing, like some actresses want to like venture off, or actors too want to venture off and work with other people. But I guess she's like, if I'm hitting like a stride with a certain director, I wouldn't mind working with them over and over again. So like makes sense.
All the power to them. That's a great coupling.
Again, about to get her a second Oscar nomination, or with him at least 4 total. Very accomplished, so different.
Yeah, you're up for this next one. This was your news article.
So Steven Yeun, who was on The Walking Dead, he was also in Nope. He just won a Golden Globe for Best Actor in Limited Series as of this recording. It was yesterday on Sunday for Beef. What's interesting about him being cast in Thunderbolts, it wasn't officially announced, but he was definitely, I didn't know that. But he was definitely a part of it, because they would have put the kibosh on that story, because a lot of big trades like the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all reported it that he was in it, but they didn't make an official announcement of what he was going to be doing in it. I guess he's supposed to play a character called Sentry in Thunderbolts, who in the comic book is Caucasian and blonde. So I don't know if there was any that typical like racial discourse that happens sometimes when that kind of casting happens. I didn't see any of it.
I didn't see anything. Maybe behind the scenes. I don't know.
So, and good that we didn't see it. If that's great. And he is a really, really talented actor. Also
and
Oscar
on fire right now. Yeah, from Minari, was it?
Yeah, from Minari. Yeah. So he is on a roll. He really wanted to be a part of a Marvel movie, but he had to drop out of Thunderbolts because the SAG-AFTRA strike created a bunch of delays. Thunderbolts hasn't even started filming yet, and I'm guessing because of those delays, it interferes with other projects that he signed on for. So he can't be a part of it. This was actually a big blow for a lot of people that really were excited for him to be in it. And a lot of people are excited for the concept of Thunderbolts because it really is like, it seems like the Marvel's kind of answer to the Suicide Squad, but it's like their version of it. I was looking forward to him being in it. It would have been cool to have him in it. But yeah, it sucks that we were still feeling even these kind of casualties from the strike where certain actors sign on for stuff and delays happen. Some people were saying that this doesn't bode well for Marvel to have like one of the first big news stories for them in January to start off the year is like they're losing a big up and coming actor
looking article. Yeah, he is on top of the world right now. Luckily too, just on the note of Minari, which I believe, I can't remember if it was a 2021 or 2022 release. Do you remember? Point is though,
2021.
I bring it up because I got very fortunate, and around Boxing Day, I was out just browsing movies.
Oh wow,
and
2020 apparently.
2020. Oh wow, longer, man. It's a whole pandemic time warp thing. Yeah. But I got a brand new Blu-ray from it at my local movie store for $10, and I was like, snag that.
Really?
So really interested to seeing that. I've always enjoyed him since the early seasons of Walking Dead, and didn't really see him break out into movies until Minari seemed like the first mainstream, like theatrical role that he had been in, and he like piloted that, and he got the Oscar nomination from that movie.
Yep,
I believe. Yeah. So, and now he's just been riding that high since then. So, I mean, I am not upset about his departure from, if you can call it that,
because we know how you feel about, when really good actors get attached to.
And like that's great. There already are some great actors attached to it, but I think that it's just with Marvel, like not even a negative or positive thing, but regardless, like joining that cinematic universe, I don't know if pigeonhole is the right word, but it locks actors down into this role for sometimes years at a time, that we've seen in the past. And I would like to see him continue this streak that he's on in other smaller independent projects. So interested to see what he'll be doing instead of Thunderbolts. So I'm not that shaken up by that departure, but regardless, interesting story. Didn't know that he wasn't officially signed on though. So that's kind of a curveball.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you too. I mean, it would have been. I mean, he seems like the interview that he gave on he was at an event where he confirmed that he was not going to be in it. He says he really does. He said he does want to do a Marvel movie, and I don't know if that's just because that's what you say when you're in his position, or if he really wants to be a part of one.
Doesn't want to burn a bridge, probably.
It seemed like he was excited to be a part of it, and maybe like what was presented to him, like what that film was going to be, was maybe a little bit different from what we've been getting from them lately. So there could be that, but I mean, I don't even know there's any talks on who will replace him or anything like that. And it's crazy because this movie, I remember when this movie got announced, and it's
a while ago now.
It still hasn't started filming yet.
Keeps getting delayed. That's another thing I think is a factor. Like the easy job that it used to be joining the MCU, that's not been the case lately. We've seen, and that's not all the studio's fault. Like pandemic was a big part of that, and then the strikes pushing movies back. And like you said, this movie's been greenlit for a while now, and cameras have not started rolling. It doesn't seem like it's the guaranteed work that it might have been a couple of years ago. So I'm thinking that may have been, I don't know, this is purely speculation, but might have been a factor. Who knows?
But you also have a lot of other good people to look forward to that movie.
Yeah,
Florence
exactly.
Pugh is in it. Sebastian Stan, Daniel Harbour, Ryan Russell. He's good in that universe so far. Maybe not in the Night Swim universe, but
no, that's dead in the water.
That's dead in the water.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about that a little shortly.
Oh God, yeah. Unfortunately.
And I guess I'll introduce this next one, which is kind of similarly themed. But someone else's misfortune is someone else's good fortune, because Andrew Garfield was actually signed on to be in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein adaptation for Netflix. but he had to pull out because of scheduling conflicts. And replacing him as Frankenstein's monster is Jacob Elordi.
Ooh, I didn't realize that was the role he was in. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
who is having a moment.
Yes, he is.
He is joining in the movie. Oscar Isaac is playing the title character. Also, Christoph Waltz is in this movie, and Mia Goth, who is racking up an impressive filmography of her
Instant
own.
hit.
Instant hit. Kind of wish it wasn't a Netflix movie. I wish it kind of was like a theatrical thing, but
yeah,
that's just me being nitpicky.
I know, but yeah, I know that he's another director, Guillermo del Toro, that has this working relationship with Netflix that I just wish they didn't. It's great that, you know, he's able to consistently put out projects with them, but we're neglected from this theatrical release, which pisses me off. David Fincher being another one. And I didn't realize until you said it that it was a Netflix production, but it doesn't surprise me because he did his Cabinet of Curiosities sort of anthology series with Netflix, and Pinocchio, right? Was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
But what else was I going to say about that? Oh yeah, about Andrew Garfield leaving this role. What on earth is he working on that doesn't want to work with Guillermo del Toro on this? Not that he doesn't want to, but what is he leaving?
I don't know.
Him for?
And I couldn't find anything concrete. A lot of Marvel nerds are hoping it's some kind of Spider-Man cameo or some kind of Marvel cameo.
But a role like a cameo over such a huge role in one of the greatest filmmakers
Guillermo del Toro,
right now.
And I think he was very excited to work with Guillermo del Toro too. So
yeah, that has questions raised for myself. Sounds like both of us.
That's funny because my buddy sent me a text that was very similar to what you just said. Like, what the hell is he working on that he can't make time for this? Like, it better be something equally as good or better. And that is true. But Jacob Elordi, you know, we talked about it a little bit. You know, his comments about the kissing booth movies that he was in, and him taking his shit on those, even though like no one would know who he is initially. That was his big break here. Guy was practically living out of his car before he got those movies. So you might want to be like a little humble, I guess.
I didn't realize that about him. I know that was his start, but I didn't know his circumstances before.
Very much a struggling actor, like living that typical struggling actor dream. When he got the kissing booth movies. But to his credit, after the kissing booth movies, he got Euphoria, which earned him like a lot of critical praise. I'm guessing he's still attached to Euphoria because they have one more season at least. There is going to be a time jump on that, I guess. So maybe there is room to write him out if they need to. I haven't heard whether he's coming back or not officially, but I'm assuming the whole main cast is coming back because I can't imagine Euphoria lasting beyond this next season. I don't think we can go anywhere further with it. But so he has that, and then 2023 he had Priscilla playing Elvis Presley, and he had Saltburn, and he was. I watched Priscilla last week.
Oh, nice.
We have some issues, but it's good, and he's actually, you know, to be in the shadow of what Austin Butler did. I think that was kind of hard, but I think he does a really good job, and you know, he's Australian. He covered up the accent really well. I thought he did
I didn't even know he was Australian.
Yeah, and he looked enough the part to sell it, and I thought he was, but he also wisely is playing second to the actress that plays Priscilla. It's her movie, right? So he's definitely not he's not the lead. So like he does what he needs to do. He supports her in the best way.
Okay.
And then Saltburn, I thought he did a really good job in that.
He was great in Saltburn. It wasn't like
so like he's having you can tell he's someone that really wants to work with good people and important people and people who are creative and challenge him. And I mean I've gone back and forth about the whole kissing booth comments, whether they were appropriate or not. Because even you were like, maybe in poor taste, but he has a point.
Right.
And he did. I mean, he wants to put out.
I also didn't listen to it verbatim. I don't know exactly what he said, just, you know, in the vein of what he said, but.
Well, he took a shit on them. He said they weren't like good movies.
Is he wrong? But I get what you're saying about poor taste and like, you know, respect where you came from and all that sort of thing. But he's back in bed with Netflix. So, I mean, they clearly want him. I don't know like how that works. They're a huge studio. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
working with any of the
yeah.
same
That was my
producers or
first.
anything,
That
but-
was my first thought when I saw that. I was like, oh, he's
Yeah.
working on a Netflix production. That they were like, oh, like if any of those same people are involved with like
yeah,
all those decisions. But that's kind of funny.
probably
But yeah,
not.
it's interesting. Like you have people like him that said what he said, and then you have people that Zac Efron who's like, "What's a wildcat? Always a wildcat." Like he embraces.
Yeah, that's another good
Yeah.
example of respecting where you came from.
Yeah, he embraces High School Musical. Charles Melton said the same thing about Riverdale. He was like, he compared working on Riverdale to like a crash course at Juilliard. He was like, I learned a lot. I got to do a lot of different things on that show because like the format is almost like a soap. It's like a nighttime soap, basically, the way that it's formatted, pretty much. And we got to do a lot of wacky, crazy things, and it was a good test as an actor. So be more like that instead of being like, yeah, that was shit. You can say it's shit amongst your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Speak honestly.
Who are like, who are like, yo, did you really like making those movies? And you're like, no, man, paycheck.
Right. He's also got another movie coming out I believe it's this year. There's trailers out called He Went That Way. I don't know who's directing it, but he's starring opposite Zachary Quinto, and it seems like he's in a more deranged, unhinged sort of role. And the trailers I saw from it they got my interest. I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's He Went That Way, I believe it's called. I don't know. Have you seen the trailer for that?
I haven't, but it was on a list of movies. I read the premise for it. It was on a list of movies that because we get like for the ones we're going to review, like which ones we are most interested in reviewing ourselves.
Oh, okay.
And based on the premise, I was like 5 it. I gave it 5. So like I would like to review it. So
nice.
So
yeah.
It
check out the trailer.
It sounds interesting. Yeah, I'll check
Both
that out
of them
too.
look good in the movie.
You know, I appreciate any actor like him, the Zac Efrons, anyone that like could just ride on good looks. They could be like, I don't really need to try. I'm pretty.
Right.
And I appreciate when they don't. And that goes back to even in the early days of like someone like Brad Pitt, who could have easily done that too, but always was like, I want to challenge myself as an actor. I want to prove myself as an actor. So I respect that about a lot of these guys who are up and coming and then just trying to do like just really good work that they're proud of, I guess. So
right.
And he seems to be doing that. So good for him.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe this brings us.
I don't losing Andrew Garfield is a bust too, though.
That is a bust. Yeah,
I think that he's a solid actor, and I mean that when I saw that cast initially, I was like, oh, that's a really good cast with him included. But yeah, it's a bummer losing out on him. Like
not
you said,
a terrible replacement though. Yeah, I'm hoping that he's working on something great, but definitely whenever that news comes out, we'll know why. Yeah.
Well, no. If it's Marvel adjacent, I'm gonna throw a fit. I'll be with you. If it's anything like that, I'll be like, oh,
bad career. But I don't know. I have faith in him for making the right career choice, but time will tell.
Yeah, we shall see.
And
so we got box office now, right?
Yeah, our first prediction of 2024, and this time around it is for the Mean Girls Broadway adaptation. Not exactly a remake. I don't know how this classifies. So the infamous 2004 teen comedy found new life on Broadway, and that's what this movie coming out is an adaptation of. Am I correct in saying that?
That is correct. Also, Tina Fey wrote the 2004 movie. She also was involved in the writing for the musical, and it was involved in the writing for this adaptation. I know this is confusing a lot of people who think it is a remake of the 2004 movie. It's not. Some of the trailers have also been trying to hide the fact that this is a musical. They're not really showing a lot of the songs.
Pulling a Wonka.
Which is very similar to what Wonka did, but that worked out for Wonka, as I'll mention in some of the box office stuff we're going to talk about. Yep. But have you seen Mean Girls, the 2004 movie?
Oh, hell yeah. I love that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was going
to
be one that you were like, no, I haven't seen it. And I was going to like, what?
Oh, yeah. No, Mean Girls is a classic. That's still quoted amongst like my friends and like peers still often.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most quotable movies I can think of.
Oh, I enjoy it every time I go back to it.
So I quite enjoyed that movie too. But I like you, I have no frame of reference for the musical. I've never heard I've never heard one song. The only songs I've heard are the snippets I heard in that last trailer, which kind of play one song, I guess. Fans of the Broadway show knew the song when I put it on our TikTok page. They were like, they named it. I was like, all right, cool. Does it sound? So I don't know anything about it. I'm seeing it tomorrow as of this recording, early screening. And some people who have gone to screenings that started last Thursday said it's actually pretty good.
Sweet.
I haven't heard anything bad about it just yet. I also heard Renee Rapp, who plays Regina George. Everyone is very happy for her to have this moment, I guess, because she was associated with the Mean Girls musical from 2019 to 2020, and now they want she was also in the Max series, the Sex Lives of College Girls, which is still running, I guess, too. Apparently she's got a big voice and is a big performer, and they're happy that she's going to have this moment finally with Mean Girls. Predicting this one's going to be rough.
Oh yeah. Predicting it's going to be rough, not predicting that it's going to be rough. I see. Okay.
Oh no, I actually think it will. So what's funny is that I'm seeing this with my brother tomorrow because I was like, "Do you want to go?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, I'll go see it." He's not really a musical person. Where do you stand on musicals?
Where do I stand on them? I've seen many musicals that I've enjoyed. But on that same note, there's been some that I just don't think I would enjoy, so I've just avoided them. But no, I'm a fan of most of the ones I've seen. Like a big fan of Sweeney Todd.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, Sweeney Todd's sweet. Now I'm blanking all the musicals that I know. La La Land, I love. That's one of my favorites.
That's grease. Grease is good.
Grease. Oh my god, how can I forget that? My mom would curse me. I love Grease. Even the second one, I'm a lover of Grease too.
Oh, I haven't seen it in so long, but that movie, people that love it ride hard for it.
There's some better songs in that than there are in the original. Michelle Pfeiffer is awesome. Cool Rider is such a groovy song from that. Anyway, that's an aside.
You're just you had a moment.
Yeah, it's great. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it in a while, check it out next time you see Grease. I have never seen Les Miserables, but I really am not interested in seeing it, mostly because of what I've seen from Russell Crowe.
And Hathaway is good. It's a small part though. She won an Oscar for it.
Cats.
The Russell Crowe.
I've never seen. I'm joking. That looks fucking horrific.
Hairspray is good.
Never seen Hairspray.
Hairspray's a lot of fun.
Oh, High School Musical. Speaking of Zac Efron, I honestly dig those. Those were huge when I was growing up.
I saw the third one was the only one that came out in theaters. I remember I took my brother. It was like a field trip for his class to go see it.
Nice.
And they already knew all the songs already. So I was like, how
interesting. Those are fun.
But what we've learned lately is that some musicals lately, even when they get good reviews, like In the Heights was one of the best reviewed movies of the year that when it came out, did not do well in theaters. Then you have some that did bad reviews, like Dear Evan Hansen, also flopped, even though there's
that's a musical.
They're big. Yeah, it is, and it's not. I'm not a big fan of Dear Evan Hansen as a musical. Like the music's not that good, and it's not my vibe. But apparently it didn't really work.
Yeah,
it didn't work as a film adaptation apparently either, and it bombed. That's why we've been making jokes that
right.
Oh, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
With
just what with studios being ashamed to promote musicals, like Wonka being an example. This I feel like they're. I don't know. I feel you should sell your audience what you're giving them.
I think so too. I think what happened was there was a period where the musical kind of came back and they were making money when you had Moulin Rouge, Chicago, even Les Miserables made a lot of money.
Right.
Hairspray made a lot of money. But then I think lately they just haven't made as much as they previously have. And I think there's a assumption that it turns off a certain portion of the audience who don't like them, who don't really like musicals.
Right.
All the trailers from Wonka. I mean, I knew it was a musical, but if you were to watch some of the trailers, you would never guess it was.
No,
the teaser trailer.
I was oblivious.
Yeah, the teaser trailer for Mean Girls has music in it, but it's very brief. And then the second official trailer it looks like just a straight up remake of the actual movie and not a musical.
Right.
So I mean, but despite all that hiding that in the marketing, it's tracking to open at $27 million. It's also also very smartly opening over MLK weekend. So it's going to have an extra Monday to pull in some money. To put that in perspective, this is not adjusted for inflation, of course. Mean Girls, the 2004 movie, opened to $24.4 million at number one when it opened in 2004. That movie ended up grossing $86.1 million domestically and $129 million worldwide on an $18 million budget.
18 million? Wow. In 2004?
Yeah,
Jeez.
and not like a lot of huge names in that at the time.
No,
like,
not at the time.
I guess Lindsay Lohan was like that was after Freaky Friday, but then like
Okay.
she wasn't commanding like a huge like paycheck. I mean, not like that.
Right.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams was new. Amanda Seyfried was pretty new. Lacey Chabert was on TV, but like she wasn't like a huge star. Lizzie Kaplan wasn't a huge star. I was like, where did that money go?
A lot of them went on to have successful careers, but yeah, I agree. Definitely Lindsay Lohan would have been the draw at that time, but that's way more than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know where to guess here.
I don't either. What they're saying about the tracking and why they think it's tracking so high. They said that they could tell from like online social media, like the viral marketing is really working and the target audience is responding to it.
Okay.
They honestly think it will be our first big hit of 2024. So there's that. I don't know. I you know what's funny, because like there are people in my circle that are dying to see it, but I'm also not in that wheelhouse with the target audience that would want to maybe rush out to go see it. So I mean your age group might be in that wheelhouse to want to go
probably
see it.
Definitely, yeah. Because like, well, I mean, everyone that I know that loves it was very young when the first one came out, but it's one that caught on middle school, high school. It was very much popular. And even still, like, see, me and a couple of my good guy buddies, like, are shamelessly, like, love Mean Girls. Like, one of my good friends, Ben, just genuinely loves Mean Girls. It's hilarious. Like, we still quote it around each other sometimes. But I'm sure most of my friends that love the original, like, probably have no idea that it's a Broadway musical and would probably be put off about it being a musical like this one. Like, I'm sure that's probably lost on a lot of people. If it's only competition,
that's my concern.
Right. That's
like
what I think.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking that could be a factor. If it's only competition at the box office is Night Swim, I'd say it stands a pretty good chance. Jesus, I saw that last week, and it was I saw with a group of guys, so it was a good for laughs. But as a horror movie, it was god awful. But I don't know if it has any other meaningful competition, so I think that might be why I'm leaning.
Oh, I think the Beekeeper with Jason Statham, which I don't know anything about. Other than
the trailer,
he's in it.
Seems like a generic Jason Statham action movie. Even if it's good, I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking. My mind, like, I think you're right, or whoever you're quoting about it being one of the first big hits of the year. My brain wants to go 30 and go above tracking. I don't know why.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
So let me just do it, because I don't have a better justification here. I'm just going to go with my gut and go high at 30.
30.
What do you think?
All right. I'm like, I don't want to go higher than that. That feels lofty.
Right? Yeah, I know it does. I agree.
Higher, but 30 actually sounds like right on the money, though. Like, if it like were to like overextend and like really,
and it's got an extra day.
It does have an extra day, and it also like, and how quickly word gets out if something's good. Like, if the embargo lifts, I think the day after I go see it, and if like reviews are really good, and people who go see it on opening, not even that Thursday preview night, and they get the word out that it's actually really good, that could actually be good for a 30 plus opening weekend. You know, I don't want to copy you. I'll go 28.
Okay.
I'll go slightly above
tracking. Yeah.
I'll go slightly above tracking. $28 million for Mean Girls. And we used to do this a lot when we were doing the predicting the box office, and I fell off on it, and that was my fault. We are, of course, going to ask you when this episode drops, on our socials, what you think the opening weekend is going to be. And then we will share some of those answers, because we used to get some really fun all over the place numbers for some of the movies that we were predicting for. And I hope to start off this year strong, because I can't remember. We were,
you know what? We should keep tally.
I was so
now
off.
That it's the first of the year. Let's keep tally of who's like, closest and all that, and keep record.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see who's gotten, had the best record. All in good fun.
Of course. Friendly competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be asking you guys where you think it's going to open at. And as far as like just the box office results for this week, Wonka is still number one at the box office. $14.4 million weekend. Has made $164.6 million since opening in December. It's approaching $500 million worldwide. So good for Wonka. The biggest hit of Timothée Chalamet's career, unless Dune Part 2 overtakes it in March. So we shall see.
It's made more than Doom Part 1A, but I guess the pandemic.
The pandemic didn't help. Yeah. Night Swim did manage to open to, I believe, $12 million.
12 million too many.
It's a $15 million budget, so there's that, because it's going to have to do something to get out of that whole C cinema score that I received from opening day audiences.
C is generous.
And I believe the last time I looked, I forgot. I mean, when I looked last week, it was at a 33%. I'm going to see if it dropped any.
Yeah.
A 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it has a very, very low Rotten Tomatoes score.
That's appropriate.
The audience score is also trash at 44%. So, I mean, I guess it has the benefit of MLK to kind of soften the second weekend decline blow, but this movie is going to fall like a ton of bricks. All we will say is that Megan, this is not for Blumhouse. Oddly enough, though, we didn't mention this. We were going to talk about it, but this isn't an Atomic Monster Blumhouse production. They have been testing the waters. They did this together. They teamed up on Megan together. They've officially merged now as one power producing company. I'm just going to say, if you're going to do this full time, I haven't seen Night Swim. I'm just basing it on what I've heard from someone I trust on here and what other people are saying. Just try to pick better horror films to represent your now merged company.
Agreed.
Just because it's January doesn't mean it has to be a January style horror film. They can still be good.
Exactly.
Just want to point that out.
This is not one of them, though.
Not Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, $10.6 million. It crossed, it hit $100 million, but that's not anything great. Domestically, because it has a really big budget. Now the worldwide gross is at $334.8 million. So it won't be the lowest grossing comic movie of the year. But considering that the first one made $1 billion worldwide, that is a huge drop off. They're thinking that it'll make a little over $400 million worldwide. But considering the delays, how big the budget was, the marketing, and what you need to make and what you have to make to break even, I don't even know if it breaks even, it'll just be breaking even.
I mean, on paper, it might break even, but I mean, as far as a studio cut, not even close. That ship is sunk, I think, in terms like what theaters will take, distributors. That the DC's loss on that. That's huge. That sucks. I mean, could have seen it. I saw it coming a mile away, but I haven't paid attention to the box office life of that movie. But that's bad.
That's what happened. That's what happens when you like hope for the best. You're like, hey, it's the last one. We'll just fling it out there and see what happens.
I'm sure James Gunn is regretting.
And you know what? I'm gonna
that announcement.
Just a lot, but you know what? I'm sure he's also happy to put the DCEU behind. Well, he wasn't even part of it for the whole time, but just behind him. And I'm sure Warner Brothers is too. I'm gonna clean this one up from last week and eat a little crow because I mentioned that Anyone But You, based on like how much they like promoted it, the way they promoted it, which is, we're hot, we might be dating, Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. It had a $6 million opening weekend when it opened December 2022, and it played okay during the Christmas stretch. But I guess people are like, maybe they were busy, they were watching other movies, because it had, out of the Christmas releases, a pretty good hold. In fact, it went up 9%. In its third weekend, $9.5 million in weekend 3. It's now made $43.7 million domestically, approaching $55 million worldwide. This is a $25 million movie, so this is going to be a decent size rom-com hit.
Okay.
And we don't see a lot of those anymore. So last week that looked pretty dire, and it looks like people are discovering it now. And and good for the romantic comedy, because I think the only way they work is if you have like a pretty unique hook and I guess pretty people in it. And
Yeah. Yep,
and
exactly.
are you just push out Julia Roberts, George Clooney, Sandra Bullock?
I
And
mean,
then
you
you
can
also
only do
hope for
that
the
for
best
so
of
many years. I think those years
for so long.
you got to find
Yeah.
replacements, but definitely not, the dominating genre that it used to be in decades past. But yeah, good for them.
Yeah, and I know you don't know much about a lot about the Color Purple, but I did want to ask you. Its box office trajectory has been really weird. So it had a really big Christmas Day, $18.1 million, which was huge for just one day, but it hasn't been able to maintain any of that since opening Christmas Day. It's had the most declines of all the movies in the top 10. It's made $54.6 million. It's a $90 million budget though. They said there's still hope for it to get a boost on MLK weekend, and maybe if it gets some SAG and Oscar nominations. But it's got good reviews. It is a
Okay.
musical. I kind of wanted to ask
Right.
you if you thought like if you had any reasons why why it hit so well at first and then
Um,
kind of dipped so fast.
I don't really know if I have much. Maybe just competition around the holiday season. I don't know
Yep.
that I remember much of the marketing being very effective. Like that, maybe I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I saw a single trailer. I was at the theater quite a bit in December. I don't think I saw a trailer for it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Maybe unknown, like maybe lesser known cast. I know there's definitely some bigger names in there, but maybe not amongst like casual audiences. Maybe that wouldn't have recognized some of those names.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm not really sure if I have a concrete answer, but I didn't know about its box office trajectory at all until you mentioned it. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
was one of those things where the good news was like, oh, $18 million on Christmas Day. I think it had like the best Christmas Day opening uh since Les Miserables, which is oddly enough another
huh?
musical.
Yeah,
And that was huge news. I mean, they said that the pre-sales for the movie were huge for that day, and
hmm.
then it's just fallen off since then. The reaction to the movie is positive. I'm trying to figure out the nicest way to say this. I really don't think it's hit outside the demographic because the audience for the movie has been predominantly African American, and I don't
Okay,
know if it's really hit beyond that, and
I
that could
see.
be part of the
Def,
problem.
I think so.
That's just facts. I mean, like certain movies just appeal to certain demographics more than
Yeah,
others.
nothing
The
wrong
the
with that.
Broadway musical that on which this is based is huge. It was a big Broadway musical, but again, this is one in its marketing that the trailers I did see did not hide that it was a musical. It was very obvious that it was.
Hmm.
One, there were some people that were confused that they thought they were just remaking the Color Purple that Steven Spielberg directed in the 80s, not knowing that there was a Broadway music adaptation. Um,
Right.
I also think missing like the Golden Globes in the best musical comedy category also didn't help.
Yeah. Right.
It probably could have used a boost from that. But yeah, if it gets some SAG attention, I mean, this is a big ensemble. I mean, it seems made for like the SAG Ensemble Cast Award. And then if it gets some Oscar nominations, I mean, it has Steven Spielberg behind it. It has Oprah Winfrey. It has like a lot of power players behind it that would,
Right.
help out in that regard. Um, Also, I'm surprised that's $90 million budget.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
quite
that's not
up
big
there.
in considering. Yeah, I mean, I know we talk about big budgets, but like this doesn't seem like the kind of movie that would
That would need that
require
much.
that huge of a budget.
Right. Huh.
Because I think the biggest name in here is Taraji P. Henson, and there's other good names in this movie. They're just not like big, high profile,
That's
pay
what
them a
I'm
lot
thinking
actors.
too. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, hopefully it rebounds. I mean, I don't like to see any movies fail, especially if they're good. I have my screener. I haven't watched it yet. I should watch it before I do my top 10 list, but I can't imagine it's going to make my top 10. And if I'd
No.
be happy to be proven wrong. There
Right.
just was a lot of good stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
so.
bloated, theatrical time of the year. Not
Yeah.
so much January, but December when it premiered. So could be a reason. I mean,
Yep.
two musicals to the box office at the same time might be a tough sell for audiences too. Who knows?
Yeah. It could be a lot of factors in there, but yeah, that is our box office report. Don't forget to we will send out our socials for you to predict the opening weekend for Mean Girls. Also holding ourselves accountable, we will start taking a tally that we will like see who's doing the best in predictions
Right.
throughout the year. We're gonna make the box office predictions way more consistent, even if there's something that like, oh, I don't really care about that. We'll pick it, or we'll pick one. If there's a couple big movies that we don't want to just pick one, we'll pick two. It's gonna change
why not?
week after week.
For sure.
But the box office is something that we think we can do that's more interactive with all of you guys listening. And it's also fun for us to predict the box office as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, box office was down 18% from this week a year ago when Megan was the number one movie, $30.6 million. So it's not good to start down, but I think there's a lot of possible recovery to come.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like we don't get a real big movie until March 1st, and that's Dune Part 2. I think February is also kind of like maybe some minor hits, but not like nothing massive until
No, I agree. It's definitely, we're in that first part of the year is a lull. And unless something sneaky gets dropped, I think, March 1st is really our big first hit of the year. Unless Mean Girls surprises, but
Nope. We'll see.
Well, without further ado, you know what time it is.
That wraps up. It's time to close the show. Oh, God, I forgot what episode number it is. What episode number is this now?
This is 143.
143. Well, thank you guys for joining us for episode 143 of Back to the Blockbuster, where we went over our first weekly recap of the news. We are going to start doing it kind of this way because, hey, we don't want to miss out on big news. And it feels like sometimes after we're done recording, something will drop as soon as we hit that end recording button and we're like, fuck, we didn't get to like talk about that. So this is a good way of like grabbing some of that news that we missed throughout the week and kind of making it current for us and also hopefully making it current for you. So we hope you enjoy the new format. Let us know if you enjoy the new format as well. It felt really good doing it right now with you. It felt much more as we've been trying to do more organized than we've done it before.
We promise and delivers.
We promise more organization, and we plan on delivering that. As always, thank you for checking us out and listening. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods. But our podcast network is Playlist, and they have their very own app, the Playlist Studio app, which you can now get as an Apple user. And if you have one of those pesky droids and you're a Samsung user as well, if you have green bubbles, and you mess up your group chats, you can also you can also get it from your Play Store as well. Playlist has been very good to us, very good at cranking out those last few episodes from last year that allowed us to not have a break in episodes, and that we were very grateful for that. And they work very hard, so we want to continue to promote them as well. Look out for a lot of really cool episodes coming down the pipeline. We're going to be talking about our 10 I guess we're gonna do 10 top 10 of 2023. We might throw in some least favorites too. I know some people think those are in poor taste, they think they're rude, so I will find a way to like say it without making it sound like the worst movie of the year. And you have to hold certain filmmakers accountable and like make sure that they put out a better product. So we have that. Jackson has a year anniversary coming up, and I actually will put out on our socials too questions for, he said for the show as a whole, but like if you have questions for Jackson, send those in too. I don't know if he wants the whole episode to be about him. So we'll mix it up. And then we have our most anticipated for 2024 and our first anniversary episode of Varsity Blues coming up as well. So January is jam-packed on top of more award season stuff. We got SAG nominations. We got the DGA nominations are coming out on Wednesday. So that'll be something that you'll hear on the weekly recap next week, most likely. So yeah, a lot to do in January. We're hitting the ground running, and we are very excited to bring you the best possible show that we can bring you. So thank you, as always, Jackson, for bringing your A game. And thank you all for listening. It's been great.
Flawless execution. Thanks, guys, for tuning in again. And we will see you guys next week. Until then, take care, guys.
Peace. All right, I felt good about doing that one. That was
killed it.